Imagine I offered you $1 million saying, I want to invest in you. Where would you put that money? Your business? A 401k? Should you say, no, I don't want your money? Now in this video, we're going to take you through understanding whether or not you should seek financing for your business. We're going to talk about where you are in your business journey, what your risk tolerance is, and I'm going to help you figure out if now is the right time to grow and scale your business by borrowing money. Hey there, media celebrities. My name is Josh Elledge, and I believe that every person has a message that can positively impact the world. Now, I've been in the media over 2,000 times myself, and we turn thoughtful entrepreneurs into media celebrities at upmyinfluence.com. Now, this video series I'm creating could be one of the most life-changing video series you've ever watched if you're in business for yourself. Now, I've created seven-figure-a-year companies in the past, and I've also failed in business, like a lot. Now, we're in the position with my newest company where I'm exploring whether or not to seek capital investment. Now, in my first video, I really laid this out. So if you want to understand my journey a bit better and the struggle I have with the idea of business debt or bringing on an investor, please go back and watch that video. It's short and will really give you some valuable context that I think you'll identify with. And I'll also share a pretty strong case why, as a consumer and small business advocate, I feel that I have a moral imperative to bring you along with me in this journey. Now, there's just so much confusion about how to fund a business, and quite honestly, there are a lot of sharks out there who are not looking out for your best interest. My hope is that by being very transparent about my journey and our journey, you'll gain some insight and start taking action on your next steps to growing and scaling your business. Now, please hit subscribe on my channel and hit the bell. I promise that I will do everything in my power to help you grow your authority and influence. I respect where you are in your journey, and I'm committed to serving in any way that I can. Now, finally, I don't have all the answers, and every business is different, so I'm really relying on you to comment below and let me know your questions about this journey. I'd absolutely love to dig in and help you grow your business and impact. So this video is largely based on a book by one of my friends and mentors, Kassar. Ami is the founder of Multifunding and is a regular contributor at Inc. Magazine Online and a regular speaker at Inc. Events, where we originally connected many years ago. So his book is called The Growth Dilemma, and I believe it should be required reading for anyone toying around with the idea of scaling their company faster by leveraging productive debt. Now, a direct link to the book is in the notes below. Now, in my previous video, I talked about my journey as a bootstrapper. So I do want to let you know that you can grow a company with absolutely no debt. I've done it before. I also know that having an infusion of capital can allow you to take advantage of opportunities that might otherwise be outside your budget. Now, those opportunities would be designed to help you gain a return on investment. And we'll go through some math in this video to help you decide or keep it on cruise control. So let's go back to my original question at the beginning of this video, and I'll actually let Ami ask the question, since it's actually his question that he asks.
So if I gave you a gift of $1 million today that you didn't have when you woke up this morning, and you could not use the money to go buy a beach house or a fancy car, and you can split the money, but you either had to invest it in your business or a mutual fund of your choice or something that you did not control, how would you divide the chips, Josh?
Yeah. So I would probably, if it were $1 million, I would probably do what you call the safety net. I would probably put 200,000 in the safety net and then 800,000 into the business. And another reason why I would do that is I would look at $1 million and go, I don't know if I can, what would I spend all that money on? I don't know that I have an answer for that.
So let's just say that what return would you expect from the investment in the business? And what return would you expect from the investment in the mutual fund?
Oh yeah, the return on the business would be enormous. I mean, at a minimum, like 20-25%.
Great. Okay. And let me tell you why I asked this question. It's a core theme of the book. So as entrepreneurs, if we took a $20 bill out of our pocket, there are three things we can do with it. We can reinvest it in our business, which we often do without realizing it.
Yeah.
We can and we should be taking some trips and putting them on the side for a rainy day. Or trees don't grow to the sky forever. Okay. And we're going to spend some, right? That's what we like to do. We have to live and enjoy our lives. How we do that is not necessarily very organized. And in addition, I would argue that if you, in fact, whether it was 800 or 400 or 200 or 600, whatever the number is that you were going to invest in your business today, and you felt you could get a 25% return on it, and you could go borrow that money at 7 or 8%, why aren't you using leverage in a positive way to help you grow your business?
Right. And that's the question that when you ask that, it becomes very clear. And I think that it's fear, that's the only thing. Now, if you'd like to watch my full interview with Ami, you can click on the link in the notes below and you can watch that interview. So now let me ask you the question. Are you a 100%er or are you a safety netter? What percent would you stick into a 401k and what percent would you invest into business growth? Now, this is an important question to ask. You heard my answer, and I believe that if you don't have the guts to invest in your business, that's a good indication that you may not be wired for that level of risk, or more likely, it's just not good timing. In other words, maybe your business isn't scalable at this point. Your confidence is generally a good litmus test on whether or not to move forward with funding. Now, even if you're feeling like taking on debt is way too risky right now, that's awesome. That means we have a little time to play with. Now, in my next several videos, I'm going to go into exactly what you should be doing today so that if you want to invest in growth in the future, you can get much more favorable terms because you'll have an impeccable business credit rating. I'm going to tell you right now, the concept I just mentioned right there blew my mind when I learned about it. Also, I should share that if you enjoy owning a lifestyle business and you're earning enough to pay your bills, enjoy some vacations, and save money for the future, a big capital investment is probably not necessary. Life is good. Now, I will tell you, and we'll get into this in a future video, every business owner should have access to a low-cost line of credit. Every expert I talk to for this series agrees on this one fundamental point. And what I'm about to share is very important. The time to establish this line of credit is when times are good and you don't need the money. Because if you seek a line of credit when times are desperate, you're probably going to get hosed. Now make sure you hit subscribe because I'm going to share more on this critical strategy in a future video. The next thing we need to look at is, are you a tortoise or are you a hare? Now, tortoise entrepreneurs are more likely to be cautious and less likely to take risks. Their goal is to pursue gradual growth over a spread out time span. They don't think about their business in the short term. For them, it's a long-term venture requiring patience and persistence. They're not thinking about the next quarter or round of financing. They will do what it takes to strengthen their company for the long run. Their business is their baby, and they won't give it up easily. Now, according to Ami, debt financing tends to be the preferred form of funding for this kind of entrepreneur. Now, typically, investors are more excited about backing hares than they are tortoises. So often the only choice for a tortoise is to borrow money. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Ami shared with me that debt financing is less risky than granting equity positions to investors, which means selling a piece of the business and thus losing some control over it. I am a tortoise. Now, in the book, The Growth Dilemma, we also learn about hare entrepreneurs who want to grow as big as possible as quickly as they can. Now, that generally means equity financing, money that could come from venture capitalists, angel investors, private equity, or other sources. Now, I may be wrong, and I would love your comments below on this, but in my experience, investors are really only interested in finding unicorns. Now, admittedly, I've only talked with a handful, but because we're more of a service-oriented business at Up My Influence, I've been advised that we would be better suited for taking care of our own growth, and then maybe down the road, we could entertain acquisition offers in the future once we're a bigger force to be reckoned with. Now, personality-wise, Ami shares that hair entrepreneurs typically want to build several ventures in their careers quickly and then sell them. They're more passionate about the process than the actual entity they're building. Their goal in life is multiple exits. Now, the game is to get in and get out. They would never put up their own house as collateral for their latest venture because they're not that emotionally tied to their company. So if this describes you, consider heading to Silicon Valley or someplace else with a great startup investor scene and spend your days networking and pitching, and you may just find your ideal investment partner. Now, another consideration is the current stage of your business journey. Now, Ami describes 4 different stages. Are you a grower, a glider, a speed bumper, or an exiter? Now, most entrepreneurs are growers. They spend their days considering new ways to grow their market share and profits. They would likely take most of the $1 million and invest it into their business. Now, gliders, on the other hand, are happy where they are, and if you were to offer them the $1 million and they saw a really big opportunity, well, they might invest most of it there, but they don't likely feel an intense pressure to do so. They're happy. Speed bumpers have hit a rough patch in their business. It happens. In my work with Tony Robbins' Business Mastery audience, of which I've taught an online event to, one thing that we commonly hear from Tony is to build your business for winter because it's inevitable. You could lose a key employee, gain some sharp competition, the market could dry up on you, or so many other things. Now, hopefully, if you're in the speed bump phase, you've done some work ahead of time. If not, now is the time to get very serious about how you'll solve this inevitable problem. Keep watching this series. I gotcha. Finally, exiters, they just want out. There's probably no point in taking on any risk. Now, the next thing to consider in regards to taking the money is your risk tolerance. Now, Ami points out 3 categories. You're either risk averse, risk neutral, or risk flexible. Now, the best way to find out where you are is to take Ami's quiz, which we've linked below. Now, I happen to be pretty neutral, which means I've got a pretty good stomach for it, but my wife is a little bit more risk averse. So that means we're risk averse, and that's generally how it works amongst couples or partners. Now, for you risk-averse people, Ami would tell you conventional lenders are probably going to be the best financing sources if you still really want to grow, because the risk-averse are likely to approach business conservatively. Their overall financial practices may be best matched with an SBA-approved lender, which is what Ami's company Multifunding does, and I have a link to that below as well. Now, although painful for risk-averse entrepreneurs who really want to grow, another possibility is self-financing. This entails using your own money to invest in the company where personal assets are used as collateral for outside funding. Some examples include securing a home equity loan or home equity line of credit, otherwise known as a HELOC. Now, you can also borrow against your life insurance. You can use your individual retirement account, your IRA, for short-term interest-free loan, and you could borrow against investments and securities, or you could even use personal savings. Now, I will chat with others in future videos that would urge you to avoid using your personal credit when the business's credit strength is able to sustain itself. I'll even share how to grow your company's credit worthiness to better keep things separate. However, for funding mechanisms like low-cost SBA loans, you can expect that you will need to personally guarantee the loan. Now, for risk-neutral entrepreneurs like me, you're likely open to other funding options if the right opportunity presented itself. Now, this might include higher interest accounts receivable factoring or digging into lines of credit for short-term opportunities in which you can easily pay back the credit after the opportunity is realized. Risk flexible entrepreneurs are not reckless. They just really love taking advantage of every opportunity, and they're not afraid to personally guarantee credit because they believe in their business and have some confidence that the business can make good on any credit. A personal guarantee is an individual's promise to repay business debts, by the way. Now, this often comes with collateral, such as business assets or a lien on the business owner's home. Now, Ami shared with me that financiers appreciate those kinds of liens because they showcase an entrepreneur's confidence in his or her business. Lower the risk for the lender, and you can generally get much more favorable conditions, including a lower interest rate and a 10-year term on the coveted SBA loan. It's now time for the final test in the growth dilemma, and that is, what is your growth aspiration? In other words, how fast do you want to grow? And what is your stretch goal? Stretch goals are challenging, but they're not beyond the realm of possibility. While reputable lenders won't steer you toward anything that makes you uncomfortable, discomfort can be useful for you to look beyond your limits, if only slightly. Your growth aspirations may still be conservative, or you might want more aggressive or even rocket ship growth. You get to decide, and this is absolutely going to inform you on the type and amount of funding. So, now that you know who you are, here comes the fun part.
What happens if a business owner wants to grow, but but they want to grow, but maybe, they're not certain that this is, what they're thinking of doing is really risky to them. Or it ends up, maybe it's just a bad decision when it comes to growth. Are there is there a litmus test to say, listen, you want to grow, that's a given, but your reason for growing should check all these boxes, or your plan for growth should check all these boxes. Is there any kind of test for that?
I like to see first of all, what's the profit that the growth is going to generate? Mm-hmm. And I like to see a best case and a worst case and a medium scenario.
Wow.
So we're all missing tools for growth. If I want to grow, maybe I need to invest in a salesperson in Southern California. I'm making it up. That's going to cost me to test it or experiment with it to find out if it's really working and give it the time. $200,000. I'm making it up. Mm-hmm. If I borrow $200,000 to do it, could I do it out of cash flow? Well, that might be a big hit. If I borrow $200,000 to do it, and I'm going to have a monthly payment of $2,200 a month for 10 years, mm-hmm. That's the worst thing that could happen.
Wow.
Can I afford that comfortably? The best thing that could happen is that $200,000 investment will generate how much profit over how much time. I need to understand that. And then I need to look at a scenario in the middle. And then I have to decide if I'm comfortable with the risk.
Yeah.
You don't have to get into total analysis paralysis.
Which clearly I am.
Okay, sometimes people do that.
Yeah.
But where people often get stuck is they think about the $200,000 coming out of this year's cash flow.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's better, in my opinion, to think of that $200,000 coming in monthly hits over a period of time.
Okay. So as opposed to thinking of a $200,000 liability, really, we're just talking about a $2,000 a month liability.
Well, it depends. Are you going to manage your business like your household budget?
Yeah.
Or are you going to use leverage in a positive way to help you grow your business? And not all your investments are going to pan out. They're not all going to work.
Now, I have to tell you that what Ami just presented really changed my mind in a huge way. When I consider personal debt, I would look at $20,000 in debt as a $20,000 liability. With business, however, we're talking productive versus consumptive debt. And if we're properly capitalizing our business, we should be willing to invest in growth opportunities. Now, I'll have more videos on this topic in the future. Now, before we get to the math and I share where we're headed, I asked Ami about an SBA loan versus a line of credit. Our use of funds would be to invest in sales and growth opportunities. Now, for capital investments in growth, Ami cautioned against the use of a line of credit. LOCs are fantastic for short-term debt where you know that you can pay them off within 12 months. But he warned that lenders are notorious for requiring a zero balance at some point annually. So we'd like the flexibility to not have to zero out our balance within 12 months. It may happen, but it may not. Because I don't know, I felt uncomfortable relying solely on a line of credit. Now, you might find that an LOC is perfect for you. Make sure you keep watching this series because I'll take you on my journey around acquiring an LOC as well. And remember, every business should qualify for when times are good. So regarding the amount of the loan, if I'm stretching just a bit to make sure that I'm focused on aggressive growth, I want to make sure that I have a strong case for use of funds. Now, based on my personal credit, time in business, debt to income ratio, and our business income, we can qualify for a $100,000 SBA loan. Why SBA? Because it's a lot less expensive than alternative lenders or a non-SBA guaranteed lender. You can also choose terms as long as 10 years, which will make sure that payments are easy to make. Now, thankfully, I do have good credit, but it hasn't always been that way. But if you're not currently at 660 or above, don't worry. There are plenty of other options, or you might decide to focus on improving your credit before taking on a business loan. Now remember, for accounting's sake, we're not looking at this as a $100,000 liability. The monthly liability would be our payments, and that's what we need to pay attention to. So, a $100,000 loan over a 10-year term at 9% interest, well, our monthly payment would be $1,266.76. So, here's my big question. If I have access to $100,000 in capital, can I take advantage of opportunities that will increase our income by more than $1,266.76? Now, I can tell you that once I looked at the numbers that way, the decision became pretty easy. Now, right now, I'm shouldering the vast majority of our client acquisition work, and it's pretty time consuming. I'm great at some aspects of it, but other areas, I'm terrible. And that is costing us a lot of potential income, and more importantly, it's holding my company back from expanding our mission and helping some really great business owners. Now, some entrepreneurs can't use debt to fund their business's expansion because the company doesn't generate enough cash to enable them to make the payments on it. Now, others shouldn't use debt because the returns their business can earn on borrowed money are less than the interest rates on any loans they can get. So, if you currently don't have strong income, a record of business growth, and strong personal credit, you're probably going to have to pay more for borrowed money, and that makes it harder to get the numbers to add up. So as of right now, we're actually leaning toward getting the 100K. Now, I admit, it's still pretty scary, but thanks to help from experts like Ami and many others who I'm going to introduce you to in this video series, I feel like we're in good hands. Now, if you feel confident, you know what you need to do to grow your business, you have a strong case for expecting a good return on your investment, you can borrow the money to do it, and you believe the expected return is higher than the cost of capital, what's holding you back? Now, I've got a link to Ami's website and a test you can take to determine your own entrepreneurial profile below. I'm also going to tell you that the upcoming videos in this series are going to help you understand this concept of acquiring capital in a way that will probably rock your world. Now, naturally, I need to tell you, I'm not your attorney and I'm not your financial advisor. But I hope that through my journey, I can help inspire you and bring you clarity on your own business growth journey. If it's time to launch your business in a big way, and I can help you overcome that fear, I consider it an honor. Also, I should say that if you feel that I've helped you, please let me or others know that I helped inspire you to connect with them. I'm a big believer in giving value. And if I end up getting any referral bonus from it, it allows me to continue answering questions and teaching on this subject. Thank you so much. Finally, hitting share and letting others know about this project would be the highest compliment you could offer. Without you, it's just me researching, writing, and teaching to an empty room. And together, you and I can impact business owners that may be unnecessarily struggling or may end up trapped in a bad loan shark deal paying 40% interest or more. Please help me curb this practice. I have a moral obligation to help advocate for small business owners, and I can't do it without you. Now, in my next video, I'll be chatting with Jerry Detweiler from nav.com, and we're going to learn all about the world of business credit. You won't believe what she has to share. So click on the next video and let's get started.